Back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Roman Gabriel III, your host. And, of course, you can join us 8 o'clock Eastern Time every Saturday night right here. Or you can do it streaming live at afr.net. Podcasts, BlackBerry or iPhone at afr.net. Go to Sold Out Sports Talk for archives, or go to our short program, Sold Out Sports Minute, and hear from some of these great athletes, coaches, and the people who cover sports, faith, family, and sports right here on Sold Out Sports Talk. And I've got a guest coming in who I've had on my show many times, and he is one of the class acts and a friend and a guy who you know very well. He's had stints. You remember him, of course, with Sports Tonight at CNN and CNNSI. Also with stints at ESPN, the Yes Network, TBS. Most recently in 2009 and 2010 seasons, Fox Sports South for Braves live pre- and post-game shows. But now he's helping others in the broadcasting world, as he has a website called fredhickman.net, where he's offering media training and coaching, as well as speaking engagements and marketing services, offering his 30 years of great experience in award-winning broadcasting over the years, and we're going to talk more about that. But my guest coming in tonight, the great Fred Hickman. Fred, how are you, buddy?
Well, I am doing fine, and I am humbled by that wonderful introduction, Roman. And the best part of it is that you called me friend, and I treasure that. Thank you so much.
Well, it's great having you. It always is, and it never ends. We've got a bunch going on. You think with the NCAA basketball tournament behind us, and everybody's saying, well, we got to look forward to the Masters. We had a great Masters last week, and I know you're a big golf fan, so tell me, was that not one of the great final Sundays in Masters history this last week?
That was, to me, it was a tremendous Sunday because it seemed as though every shot on every hole meant something, and usually you don't see that. I mean, everybody talks about Rory melting down. Well, a lot of people would melt down in that situation, and I think it'll be fine. Greg Norman's done it. A bunch of people have done it. It's just a pressure-packed situation. But when you have a Sunday where every single hole seems to mean something, it's compelling to me as far as golf is concerned.
My wife and I were sitting there watching the final round the other day, and obviously it was really devastating to both my wife and I, what happened with Tiger Woods in his personal life, because you never want to see somebody's life be destroyed, or you never want to see somebody who portrays himself as a role model go through what he's been through. But he's not the first athlete to have, been in the ashes and trying to rise up to change themselves. But you know what I told her as we were watching it, Fred, is I said, I love to watch Tiger Woods play golf. I just, it's something that, I don't watch a lot of golf, but when Tiger started playing, I just was really intrigued by the way he played the game and just by the figure that he is. But I really enjoyed the fact that he got in the mix on Sunday. I think golf without Tiger Woods would be tough to watch.
Well, it would be, and there's another thing that's involved here, and it's called redemption. He went through a whole bunch of stuff, and we all know about it. We all heard about it, and saw it on television. And I don't know Tiger very well on a personal level, but redemption is something that we, as Christians, ought to offer and ought to embrace. So if he can get it turned around, and if he gets his act together, with his family and with his kids and goes on about his life, I'm okay with that. Redemption is a good thing.
Well, Fred, when you look at the landscape of golf, we kind of saw, I think, a little bit of a passing of the torch in terms of this next generation putting on their talents and abilities at this Masters. Of course, Rory McIlroy's at the top of that, but we also saw several other young guys that showed their skills. And but can you really say that those guys wouldn't be who they are, these young players, without the example that Tiger was set on the golf course?
Oh, I agree. I totally agree with you, Roman. Tiger was, 21 when he won his first Masters, and Rory McIlroy is 21 now, I believe. He's got a lot of great golf ahead of him. There's no question about that, and a lot of those kids do. But, yeah, I think it's good for the game. I think, the torch was kind of passed when it came to Tiger. and now it's being passed to these younger players, and nobody's waiting for, the older guys. And I happen to be one of the older guys, but not on the golf course, obviously, but I think that it's a great thing for the game, and a great way to pass it along to younger kids who are thinking about playing the game. I think it's going to be an inspiration to them, so I think it's fun. It's good to watch. I enjoyed it.
Fred Hickman, our guest on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk, and one of the things that I like about the PGA Tour that I think is different than a lot of other sports that are out there, Fred, is because of the lifestyle that most of these guys grew up in. And you'd have to say that a lot of these guys were well-to-do in terms of their family were well off enough where they were able to go to country clubs, a lot of them, and play golf and grow up in that type of atmosphere. But one of the things that I see about the golf community is it seems to be extremely tight group of guys and a real family atmosphere. You see a lot of these guys that are happily married. You see a lot of these guys that keep their children on tour with them. And it just seems to me that as tough as it is traveling all over the world and the kind of lifestyle those guys live, it seems that they do have a life of normalcy in terms of family.
Yeah, somewhat. I do agree with that. I think that you see that in golf, Roman. I think you see it in another place you see it, I think, is in NASCAR. I'm doing a lot of work with them now. And, those guys, and not just the drivers, but the teams, the pit guys and all that, they travel together. And I think that's healthy. I think it's very, very good. And you just, it's one of those things that you don't have in baseball, for example. I'm working with, as you mentioned, with the Braves now. And we're about to hit the West Coast, and it's just tough, for you to pick up your family and fly them out west, to L.A. and San Francisco and in San Diego in one trip in 2.5 weeks, and take your family with you. You can't do it. Kids are in school, and so mom's got to be very, very important. And while I'm gone, my wife is critically important to handling our kids. So I see that a lot in golf, and there's something to be said for being able to go and stay for a week in one place, and having the wherewithal to bring your family with you. But then again, a lot of these guys don't have the net yet, and they don't have the financial ability. If you're outside of the top 20, I would guess, it's hard to afford that. The top guys can do it, but the other guys can't. But they do make a great effort to do it, and I applaud them for that.
Fred Hickman, our very special guest, Fox Sports. You can catch him Fox Sports South as he does Braves live pre- and post-game shows, and, of course, baseball season kicking off for all you baseball fans out there. And, of course, our audience being, in their 40s and above, obviously grew up with baseball, Fred. And one of the things that I've talked to a lot of people about and that's been discussed here this last year has been the fall of baseball in terms of being America's pastime. And I wanted to ask you this question because I know that you're a Facebook guy, Twitter guy. Social networking is obviously very important, and what you're doing with your new FredHickman.net site and what you're trying to accomplish. But how important is it that this younger generation that's growing up is playing more soccer? They're more involved in social networking and video and extracurricular activities that are so fast-paced that our current society has changed so much from when you and I grew up. How much of an effect has that had on this group of youngsters that look at baseball as, man, it's just too slow. I can't sit down for 2 hours and watch this. It's not like basketball or football where the season's shorter. Talk about that and what your feelings are regarding this generation and how we can get baseball, maybe some changes that can help that.
Well, I think you've hit on a key point, Roman. Getting youth involved in the game again is a big effort by the Braves, I know, and by baseball in general. There's a guy named C.J. Stewart here in Atlanta, for example, who has a foundation where he's bringing along high school kids and training them up to be not only baseball players but ambassadors, and that's exactly what they call them, ambassadors for the game. because you just don't find what we used to have as kids, where you find, ball fields. And I grew up playing baseball, in Illinois. And as soon as the ground thawed out, I had a ball and a glove, man. I was ready to go. But you just don't have that anymore. You don't have the little leagues. Everybody's got a basketball court, and as you said, soccer, all those kinds of things. But baseball has not been a big factor. But I think, MLB and different ball clubs, Major League ball clubs, are trying to reestablish that. But I think also the other thing that Major League Baseball needs to do and ought to do is take a good look at start times. We don't have day games anymore. We have, games that start at 8:30, 8:35, 8:40, something like that as far as the playoffs are concerned, or the All-Star game. And, kids can't stay up that late. They have a busy schedule. Kids don't go outside anymore. They don't play. They want to play video games. And, I have two kids, and my oldest is about to graduate from high school. But they just don't have the emphasis on getting outside and playing and just doing anything. I don't care what it is, soccer, any of that stuff. But they're on the computer, they're online, all of those other different distractions that keep them from being active. So I think it's kind of incumbent upon baseball to make the games more fan-friendly. I'd like to see more day games. I'd like to see more doubleheaders. Just anything to get kids out to the ballpark and get them outside. I'd love to see that.
Fred Hickman, Fox Sports. He's covering the Braves live, pre- and post-game, and he's also got, which we're going to talk about after the break, fredhickman.net. We want to tell you about his passion, of course, for the broadcasting business and making his experience available to you that are out there. They're looking for not only established people that are looking to get better in the media world, but also people who would like to see how you do that. And when we come back on Sold Out Sports Talk and AFR Talk, we're going to talk a little bit of NBA, and we're also going to have Fred tell us more about fredhickman.net and about media training and coaching, about why he's doing this when we come back on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk.